Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok has been used to create just a slew of non-consensual sexualized images of people, including people who look to be minors. This has been called a, quote, mass undressing spree. And essentially what has happened is a couple of weeks ago, some content creators who create adult content on places like OnlyFans used Grok's app, which is infused inside of the X platform, right? You can just at Grok and prompt it to do something. And the chatbot will, generate whatever. It'll make a meme for you, a photo. It will translate text. It will, basically do anything like a normal chatbot would do, but it's inside of X's app. And so some of these content creators said, put me in a bikini, right? They were asking for this, and Grok did it. And a bunch of trolls essentially took notice of this and then started prompting Grok to put tons of different people in these compromising situations. On communities and different forums across the internet, people are trying to game the chatbot to try to get it to push the boundaries further and further and further. They're prompting it to do things like, edit an image of a woman to, quote, show a cellophane bikini with white donut glaze. Really absolutely horrific and disgusting things that are these like workarounds to get it to create sexualized images. This has been happening for a long time online. There's always been, since these AI tools have come out, problems with non-consensual imagery being generated. There are lots of so-called nudify apps, right, that take regular dressed photos of people and undress them. And there are communities that share these as revenge porn and use them to harass and intimidate women and all kinds of vulnerable people. And this has been a problem. People are trying to figure out the right ways to put guardrails up to stop this, to make sure that these communities get shut down, that they don't continue to prompt these bots to do this, that trying to get these tools to stop doing this, right? And a lot of this has been happening in these small backwater parts of the internet, and it does bubble up to the surface. But what's changed here with X and Grok is that Grok is, as I said earlier, it's baked into the platform, right? And so what has essentially happened is that XAI, Elon Musk, they have created a distribution method and linked it with a creation method, and basically allowed for the viral distribution of these non-consensual sexual images. And it has become, in the way that it does in places like 4chan and other backwater parts of the internet, it's become a meme in this community. And people have decided that they are going to intimidate people and generate these images out in public and operate with impunity. And so what you have is publications posting photos of celebrities, and then a bunch of people, in the comments saying, at Grok, undress this person, at Grok, put them in a bikini, at Grok, put them in a swastika bikini, at Grok, put them in a swastika bikini doing a Roman salute. And then you have a photo of a celebrity in a undressed, without their consent, in a Nazi uniform, giving a Nazi salute. This is stuff that I have seen all across the platform, not going into strange backwater areas of it, just looking directly at it. So this is out there. Something I noticed earlier this week, we're recording this on Wednesday, was there was a photo of the Swedish deputy prime minister at a podium giving a talk, and a bunch of people were, asking Grok, prompting Grok to put her in a bikini, etc. X and the people who work there have issued a statement saying that they're working on the guardrails for this system, that this is against their community standards, and they will punish the people who are involved here. But that doesn't really seem to be happening. Just yesterday, I was looking around, and people who are asking Grok to, put women in compromising photos have blue checks next to their name, which means they pay the company for a verified badge. Those people are still on the platform as of this time when I'm talking to you. So I reached out to Nikita Beer on his personal email. He's the head of product at X. And I asked, as a journalist, as a human, how someone can, in good conscience, work for a company that's willing to tolerate this type of thing. Like, what's the rationale? Who's being served? How can you tolerate your product doing this? Do you imagine you'll be able to get this under control with the appropriate guardrails? And if not, how can you sign your name to this stuff? How is this allowed to be in the world? They did not respond. They forwarded me to their comms lead, and I asked the same questions of them, and they never responded back to me. I have also asked Apple and Google similar questions. How can they allow an app like this on their app store? And they also have not gotten back to me. It feels, the lack of response to this from the people who are the stewards of this platform and the people who can exert pressure on this, including ex-employees or investors or Elon Musk himself, who has made jokes about the at Grok bikini photos stuff on the platform over the past week. The lack of apologizing, the lack of urgency in trying to fix this, the lack of really seeming, from my perspective, to care about this, I think feels a bit like crossing some kind of Rubicon. This is not a standard content moderation issue. This is not, a bunch of people trying to scold for something that is a part of some kind of ideology. This is like basic human decency that we shouldn't have tools that can very easily create viral content of women and children being undressed against their will. It feels like the lowest possible bar, and yet the silence is, it speaks volumes of what these platforms have become and what their stewards seem to think. I would just ask of truly anyone who works at these platforms, like, how do you sleep at night with this? The silence from X, from employees there who we've tried to contact just to get some basic understanding of what they're doing and how this can be allowed, and what's happening on the platform, because the platform is not taking enough action to stop this, because it's still allowing this undressing meme to go forward. What's happened is, like, a culture has evolved here, and that culture is one of harassment and intimidation, and it feels like the people who are doing this know that no one's going to stop them. They're doing this out in the open. They're doing it proudly. They're doing it gleefully. Something has to change here. I've been covering these platforms for 15 plus years, and I've watched different people in these platforms struggle with moderation issues in good faith, in bad faith. I've watched it devolve into this idea of politics and ideology. I've watched people pledge to do things and then give up on those things. It ebbs, it flows. The internet is chaos. I get it. But this is just different. This is a standard of human decency and, like, social fabric and civic integrity that like you can't punt on it. You either choose to have rules and order of some kind, like a very base level, or you just, it does become full anarchy and chaos. And it seems to be that's the direction where they want to go. So if you work at X, if you're an investor, if you're somebody who can exert any like influence in this situation, I would love to hear from you. And also I would ask, is this okay? Is this what you want the legacy to be? Sorry for getting on a soapbox there, but I think it's a massive, massive story, and one that, again, I think if this is allowed to just be the way that the internet is, then we lose something pretty fundamental.